Hi everyone, it's Miss O. I'm here to talk some more about vibrato and do our first song with vibrato. If you need a refresher on how to do vibrato or you want to warm up before you do today's lesson, go back to last week's slideshow and click on the video for that so we can go over the first part of how we did vibrato. For today's video, I'm going to go over some of those basics again just to make sure we're doing the right thing, and then we're going to start playing a song. I was drilling it last class and I'm going to do it again. Your posture has to be solid. The reason I say this is because you might not think that there's a big difference between playing with your wrist straight like this or playing with your wrist up like this against your violin. You can still get away with playing some first finger vibrato when you have your wrist up like this, just as you would when you have your wrist down. Except that there's less flexibility, so you can't hear as much of a difference between those two sounds. But then when you get to the second, the third, and especially the fourth finger, you just don't have the flexibility for the range to get those fingers down to the right notes. I legitimately can't even get my fourth finger down if I have my wrist like that. For this reason, we really want to make sure that our wrist is straight so that we can reach everything and then vibrate from there. So what I want you to do is go find a mirror or set up a phone with a camera, just like I have right now while I'm recording, and I want you to look into the screen. First, get your fingers down and make sure your wrist is straight while you do that, and then do the vibrato motion. And you can do this with each finger. And while I'm doing this, I'm only watching my wrist. I could look at my fingers to see if I'm doing the rocking motion right, that is okay, but for the purpose of what I'm telling you to do, you want to look at your wrist to make sure that it doesn't start creeping back up towards the neck. Another thing you should be doing is making sure you're aware of the points that your body is touching your instrument. Something that stays the same for the violin, the viola, the cello, and the bass is the points of contact in your hand on your instrument. Your thumb is on the side of the neck, and your finger is on the fingerboard. Obviously, you don't have your finger on the fingerboard when you're playing open strings, but while you're playing these notes, even if you're doing vibrato, you want to make sure that your finger is down the whole time. You don't want to lift it up and down, because that's not vibrato, that's just lifting and dropping your fingers. So you want to make sure that while you're doing this exercise and you're rocking your fingers back and forth, your finger is on the fingerboard the entire time. You can look from this angle to see how my fingers are in contact with the string the entire time. All that I do to get that different pitch from the vibrato is I tilt my hand and I do it from my knuckles, and that's what changes the pitch. I never lift my fingers. This also happens with everyone learning vibrato, especially for the first time. It sounds gross, and that's just how it is. But the reason we do it so slow is so that we know we really can do this motion, so that when we play it faster, we don't have to think about it as much. So when we do it in this super slow motion, it's gonna sound weird, it might sound wrong, but as long as you can hear those two notes when you're moving your finger, then you're doing it right. Now, we're all at different points of being able to do vibrato. Some of us have been doing it for a few years and we're able to do a faster speed. And some of us are just starting right now, and maybe our most comfortable speed is... And that is okay. For today's assignment, we're going to be doing a piece and adding vibrato, and whatever speed of vibrato you're comfortable with is the right speed. We're going to be playing hot cross buns and adding in vibrato. I unfortunately don't have the technology skills to put hot cross buns at the bottom of this video, but this video will keep playing if you go to another tab and you can read hot cross buns and play along while you're listening to the video. For hot cross buns, we need 3 notes: F sharp, E, and open D. Because we can't do vibrato and open D, we're going to be focusing on doing vibrato on F sharp and E. The version of hot cross buns that I'm attaching in today's assignment uses half notes and quarter notes. So whenever we're doing an F sharp or an E that is on a half note, that's when we'll be doing our vibrato. If you're comfortable with it, you are absolutely more than welcome to do vibrato on the quarter notes, but for the sake of people that are still getting into the swing of vibrato, we're going to be doing it on the half notes just because we have more time in those. Take out your metronome and set it back to 50 because we're going to be using this to help us with hot cross buns. We're still going to be doing our vibrato slow, and that's just to make sure that we keep a really consistent speed of vibrato. I would much rather hear someone play with vibrato when it's really slow but even than if they did it really fast but it wasn't even at all. So that's why we're going to be doing this at 50 beats per minute. If you need to, you might want to circle or highlight the notes that we'll be doing vibrato on so it's easy to keep track of where those are. That's going to be every time that we play an F sharp or an E when it's a half note. We're going to be going in order of those rhythms that we did last class, so we're going to start out with just quarter notes for our vibrato. So our first two notes, F sharp and E, are going to go F sharp down, E down. I know that doesn't sound super vibrato-y, but it's a great place to start. Because a half note has 2 beats and we're only doing 1 motion per beat, we do never get back up to the original note, but that's okay for now. At 50 beats per minute, let's play through Hot Cross Buns together, doing 1 beat motions for our vibrato. 1, 2, 3, 4. F sharp down, E down, open D. Feel free to rewind and play that again with me as many times as you need to get comfortable with doing that motion while we're playing through music. The next rhythm in our sequence is eighth notes, so we're going to be playing 2 motions in each beat. Again, because it's a half note and we have 2 beats, we're going to be doing 4 motions since we're doing 2 motions in each beat. Now let's try playing through the entire Hot Cross Buns, now doing our 8th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you're watching your wrist, keeping it low, and keeping your finger touching the string. It's really important as we're speeding up our vibrato that you're paying attention to your left hand, making sure your thumb is touching, your fingers are staying in contact with the string, and that we're not riding our wrist up into the instrument. Now we're going to play triplets. So we're going to have 3 motions in each beat. And again, because these are half notes that have 2 beats and we're playing 3 motions per beat, these half notes are going to have 6 motions. So now our half notes are going to sound like this. Let's try playing Hot Cross Buns with triplets for each beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you're comfortable with that, we're going to start doing 16th notes. That is 4 motions per beat. And since these are half notes with 2 beats, that means we're going to be doing 8 motions in each half note. When we play 16th notes, it's going to sound like this. Let's try playing through Hot Cross Buns with 16th notes for our vibrato. 1, 2, 3, 4. If anyone would like to play hot cross buns using vibrato on the quarter notes as well, I'm going to run through that one just so you can play along if it helps. This time I'm going to be playing with vibrato every time I use first or second finger, whether it's a half note or a quarter note. For the purposes of this last one, I'm only going to be doing this using 16th notes. That means that when we do quarter notes, there will only be 4 motions. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're comfortable playing a faster vibrato, you are more than welcome to do hot cross buns with a full speed vibrato, or you can do it with the metronome up at a higher tempo, like 55 beats per minute, 60, 65, or whatever you're comfortable with. For today's assignment, you're going to be recording yourself playing through hot cross buns with vibrato at whatever speed you're comfortable. You can play a metronome while you're doing your recording if it helps you keep track of your beats, or if you'd rather do it without a metronome, that is absolutely okay as well.